wanting to get your perspective, because, I have to be really careful about, not being the right color to really dictate how activists should really be moving on the ground, and being careful to give advice, but to not come from a place where I'm trying to be a savior, or anything like that. So I'm really consciously aware of that. So that's why I think it's really important to bring people that have, the wisdom and the experience, and has a pulse with the community to speak on it, so that I can just take that message and keep spreading it. But providing that context of, how do we further this movement? And so, it's really important right now, I think, to organize our efforts, because it's been a lot of scattered messages out there. And that's one of the problems that we've had in the movement. And also, I can't be the one to say, but we do have some internal problems with how we're running this, right? And so I think you guys are better suited to give that piece, to advise on that for our community and for our young generation. And that's why I really admired the fact that you were suggesting an activist school, or, having some sort of page to where you can promote.
Oh, no, I mean, like, that's why I immediately started a page on Facebook called We Need to Organize, because it's just that simple. And it's like, it's so many ideas. So it's not that one thing necessarily needs to happen. Everybody can work within their strengths to, make things happen. But we had one thing is, like, the other side, they don't have to agree, but they all gonna be together.
Right.
They will argue in the depths of hell somewhere where can't nobody see it. Yeah. But once the cameras turn on, we all together. Right. Well, we gonna argue about everything. We gonna argue about who house we meeting at, with who bringing the food. Yep. Is it gonna be something to drink there? Can I smoke weed in your house? Whatever it is, we're gonna go through a million things before we get to the point. And then by the time we get to the point, somebody else done already figured it out. And like I was making a joke, early on in all of this, but I was dead serious at the same time. Like, we're gonna spend so much time that the other side is gonna make we are the world for this shit. And we gonna be sitting back still arguing over who's supposed to sing the song.
Right. Oh man.
And but I'm saying that's the as bad as it is and as hard as it is, that's the reality. Like, we'll have everybody in the world come and be the savior of our problem every time. And we'll still be having the problem because it doesn't go anywhere. It's just a mask that's put over it, or something that looks real good at the time. More Black people can get in a certain college or something, right? That's all good. But where's the foundational change? Where's the change that happens that changes everything? Because that ain't a whole bunch of stuff. That's a few things that can change thousands of things. But you're going to do thousands of things that's going to change absolutely nothing, except for today, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world. It's like, just shut up. Like, if somebody just decided, like I was saying earlier, if somebody just decided today that they were down and they get it and they want to be a part, why are you arguing about why they didn't get it back when Do the Right Thing and all that stuff came out? Just give them the information now. Shut up. You're going to spend all this time making somebody turn in the other direction. You know what I'm saying? Or making them feel like, oh, well, this is why people say this and they say that. Because, you know what I'm saying? Nobody has a real idea. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it. And, it's a lot of silence right now. And it's not just white silence. It's like silence across the board. Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Simple. It's simple. Like, don't say nothing. Just go find the good information and share it with your people.
Share it. Yep. That's part of education. You post other stupid memes all day, every day.
All day long.
Stupid memes rule the world right now, but they can't repost an article that sheds light on some racism.
I'll tell you something somebody can do right now. They can do it forever. They can do it back and they can do it forward. Vote.
Oh man.
Tell everybody to vote.
Okay, but
have a party about voting. Talk about it. Spread it among your community. Understand that old, young, everybody can vote. Felons in California can vote.
You know what? I'm gonna take it a step further. run for office. You know what I mean? I mean, if Trump is elected, anything goes, right? I mean,
the local offices, things like that.
yeah.
And start going to, and when people go to the polls, it's like, before you even get there, start learning about everybody that's running.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I know it's like the test where they say if you don't know the answer, you can skip the question. But every question that's skipped, every candidate that's skipped is potentially somebody that's pushing an agenda that goes against what everybody wants and needs right now. So that's, you know, that's another, you know, big thing. Cause I mean, I know early on for me voting, I go in there and I'm like, I don't even know who this person is. And what is this money there to do? Obama. You know, you understand or whatever, you know, whoever it was at the time. And that's just, you know, but we're so, it's like, it's this secret book that people who have knowledge, you know, and attain it get, and they just put it on the mantle in their house and they don't let you see it. They show it to you. You see that book right there? Yeah, that's the book I got when I learned everything. Like, no, you're not ready for that. Not ready for that. Well, what book do I read first? Oh, I don't know. I just got that one. You sound stupid. You sound stupid. Like
library. Yeah.
nothing will happen without sharing information. Nothing will happen without having uncomfortable conversations with people right now. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to be like disrespectful, but you know, it's uncomfortable. I mean, I think that everybody has probably had an uncomfortable conversation with one of their white friends recently. You know what I'm saying? Not that even it's a problem, but you know, it's like, well, look, you know, and I know for me, a lot of times it's been just people coming to me, making sure they're doing the right thing. But it wasn't something, but it's not like something that's, you know, way out of step because they always like that. It's just more of a, you know, pertinent thing right now. And everybody want to make sure that they being compassionate and empathetic and not, you know, saying the wrong thing or seeming like they, you know, doing too much. It's like, well, the greatest thing you could do is the same way that you learn whatever that made it possible for you to be around all of us, share that with them.
Yes.
Yes.
You know
I mean,
just share.
Each one teach one.
You know,
that's the whole thing about social justice, right? It's all about caring about humanity, putting human rights over property interests. It's about thinking about community and not just yourself. You know, we learn these basic principles in preschool, right? Treat others the way you want to be treated, right? And that changes as we get older. We forget about that sense of, you know, equality and just being nice to each other, right? And so, you know, how do we bring that back? How do we make them care about more than themselves? And I've always said it, maybe it's because they don't see that when you don't care about others, how that comes back to you. If you're going to just be selfish, it's actually bad math for you anyway.
Everybody's seeing it right now. Everybody wanted to take this virus as something that was simply about them. Oh, I can't get sick. Oh, I ain't get sick.
Yeah.
Oh, my immune system. It's not about you. Hashtag.
Yeah, it's about all of us.
You.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like I go see my mother and I think I hugged her for the first time last week in like 3 months. And I was even nervous then. And she had a mask on and I had a mask on. She's like, you know, get ready to be 70 years old. You know, so it's like you know, I don't want to go around my kids like that. I don't want to go around people like that. I don't want anybody to come over. You know, we can meet up somewhere where the wind blowing real hard or something. I don't even really know how we work that out, but it's like, you know, you have to get out of yourself. You know, when you learn to get out of yourself and you learn to start wanting to know the why of things, the why of life, you know, everything changes, you know, and you gotta, and it's hard, you know, and nobody, you know, says that like the first time that you say something, it's going to work, or the 10th time that you say something, it's going to work. But that's the reason why it has to be consistent. You know, it's like, I tell people, I go all the way back to leather African medallions. You know, like just, you know, from the first time that, you know, I guess say after Roots.
Yeah.
And I was able to see something that, you know, that helped me to, you know, school days. you know, and movies like that, you know, it's like, like all my friends, we like, hey man, look, that's right. You know, I mean, we're with it. We're X-Clan, Poor Righteous Teachers. You know what I'm saying? Like it's something that just becomes a part of you, you know. And you know, coming into this business, it's like we see racism all the time. Nobody's gonna say that's what it is, but that's what it is.
That's how
And
they get away with it too, is they're not admitting it anymore, but they're just gonna act low-key racist and tell you you're tripping, right?
yeah, so it's like it's something that comes across the board whenever you see it happening, you know, in any, you know, small or grand way. It's like being right there, you know, and approaching the situation, you know, whether it's forceful or whether it's just simply you know, education lesson or something that, you know, a person didn't know. And you can see a lot of times people common sense or whatever, once they had the information, it's an automatic change. They just didn't have the information. Nobody wanted to share it. Whether it was people trying to keep you in a certain mindset or, you know, just being ignorant, feeling like, you know, oh, well, I'm one person, I can't do nothing. No, you can do everything in the world.
Right.
You know, it's you, but you got to be humble. And I think that's another thing that happens with artists a lot of times, like the the humbleness is gone, and you just like
Oh yeah.
somewhere.
It's
Like
it's
you're in
yeah,
the
it's like a
stratosphere.
unicorn.
You know everything, and you know you're
Yeah.
everybody. You're the haver of all the information that nobody can get. You know, and all this other stuff. So then it's just like, oh, I'm over here. I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want, you know, I don't want to lose these sponsors. I don't want to lose these fans. You
You
know,
know,
like
it's true.
nobody cares at this point, though. Like, it's
Yeah.
like, look, money is relative. So people with a whole bunch of money and people with no money all losing money. People with a whole bunch of money and no money are not able to go to work. So
Yep.
if we was ever going to build a bridge to figure something out, now's the time.
Now is the time. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Because
So
whatever's coming on the other side of this is some bullshit. And I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of the bullshit.
yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, so listen, so I don't even know what you're processing in terms of how the music industry is impacted by this COVID right now. You know, I feel for the entire industry. I've had a few people hit me up asking how to file for unemployment, you know, just really asking what legal remedies they might have with what's going on with shows being canceled. Like, do I get my money back? Like, you know, anything like that. And I don't even know how you're dealing with that, you know.
I'm
And
telling you, go ahead, and then I tell you.
and on top of that, I know I don't want to get into it unless you don't want, if you don't want to, but like with your, you know, recent departure with Drew Hill and the management and just not looking out and things like that, you know, we're trying to think of what ways we can change this, you know, kind of culture with the music industry when something like this hits. Like, would it benefit the industry to have a union or to have some advocacy or some kind of representation that's in a way like the social justice movement, right?
I mean, I think it's time to talk about it, because you got to feel like we go out, like, and especially, so, you know, I got to see it from the side of being an artist, and I got to work in the labels for about 8 years. So it's like you work in the label, and I mean, obviously I didn't get the benefit from this because I was still signed as an artist at the same time.
Yeah.
But these people go and they get their 6-7 figure salaries or whatever it is, and they get their health insurance and all of this other stuff to sit in the office. Yet we go out on the road, we got to deal with, you know, crazy fan might get you, you get in an accident, you know, you fall off stage, whatever, and we got to cover all this shit ourselves. We expected to have our own health insurance,
That kind of thing.
workers' comp insurance, just in case you get hurt on stage,
Yeah.
you know, all of this stuff, you know, and still getting, you know, paid pennies on the dollar and, you know, everything else. And then everybody's just like, I remember one of the first people I talked to when all this stuff went down, and, you know, we were just talking about, like, what do new artists do? And, you know, it's like record company people running around telling new artists like, well, you need to just get you a viral TikTok video. That's about the best advice.
A revival, man.
You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
It's no record it's no meetings happening. You know what I'm saying? It's nobody sitting
Outreach.
in the office. You know, nobody's getting signed like that, you know, unless you going viral. Like I saw this one guy got signed because the fans on Fortnite, you know what I'm saying? It's like who number one, I can't play. I tried to play Fortnite just, you know, looking at my whatever, and it was like the minute that I turned it on, it's like I'm falling out the sky and I'm supposed to shoot somebody and build something at the same time. You know, there's too much. My anxiety went through the roof. I had to turn it off. Yeah. But you know what I mean? There has to be, you know, like the same way that companies have 401ks and retirement plans or whatever. It's like I mean, the only way to really make it in this business is to sacrifice your whole life. Like you have family, everything. So it's like, you know, why do, you know, so many people end up, you know, in their later years and they have absolutely nothing, like don't own the songs, you know what I'm saying? Got swindled out of something at some point when they needed their money or, you know, whatever else. And it's just like, that's industry standard. You ain't really you know, and that's it, you know, like I've, you know, literally seen people who like made money for labels for years. And let's say like somebody in their family passed away. It's no phone call, no letter, no flowers, no.
Wow.
No nothing. It's just, you know, you always tell people like as long as you're the marquee artist, keeping the lights on, you get everything in the world, all the attention, whatever. Once that stops happening, you know, it's just whatever. It's whatever it is, you know. Like I tell people all the time, nobody's gonna talk to you unless you hot anyway. So it ain't no need to run around and be everybody's friend. Because if you ain't got nothing going on, we not hanging out. You know, they not inviting you over their house. You ain't going to the club when they don't want to be seen with you because you going to bring down what they got going on.
Right.
You know, and this industry puts you in a position where you get whatever you going to get at the beginning, but you will spend your whole career chasing something you already got. Yeah. Just because of the way that, you know, the 52 fake out and the smoke and mirrors that had you feeling like, oh no, but I need more. I need more. It's like Dave Chappelle said it famously, like you can become infamous, but you can't become unfamous. Right. Once you famous, you famous. That ain't got, and being famous ain't got nothing to do with being rich or nothing else in the world. You just, a whole bunch of people know you. So after you finish, you know, sending everybody kids to college and, you know, buying everybody cars and, you know, whatever, not, you know, not you physically, but the money that you make. You know what I'm saying? The fact that, you know, you sit there and if you go in the door from the beginning and they giving you like 12 points, which is like, okay, so the other 82 points, they going to make their money and all your money get recouped from the 12 points that you're supposed to split with who and however, whatever way is going, you know, go down. And then it's not like somewhere else where they say, okay, cool, well, you ain't make us all our money the first time, so we're not messing with you no more. It's like, oh no, we just gonna add this money to the next time. We're gonna give you some more money. We just gonna keep this game going. You know what I'm saying? Marketing budget open forever. Yeah. Album been over, done, ain't selling it no more. Oh no, well, we had to keep on what? You ain't even working the album no more. Who are these 15 people? It's only 7 people in my crew. Why is it 15 people always on a hotel reservation? And all the other stuff that, you know, happens. Yeah. It's like you're lucky if you get somebody around you that will pull you to the side and say, look, do this, do that. Look, I know that it seemed like you need to have all that jewelry and shit, but guess what? You didn't have it on when people saw you at first. So if you just wait till you could like really get it for real, you do way better, you know, whatever. Like, you know, but that's not what happens most times. Like you have a bunch of people that's coming in trying to make whatever money they can make because they don't have the talent for real. And they're going to use you to go off and make other deals and, you know, for other people who don't have talent. And they just going to keep going. And then one day it's like, oh, well, I made a bunch of money. And, you know, oh, man, you know, it was just business. It's like, yo, nah, I don't, for real. But, you know, we definitely need, and I don't even know how it happens, so I'm not even going to act like I do, but there has to be more protection for what it is that we do across the board.
Yeah, I want to invite you to consider starting a campaign around that, because, you know, I teach a lot of young kids really, you know, there's a lot of kids that still are interested in pursuing music and the entertainment industry, and they come and ask me questions like, you know, is it better to sign with a label or do I go independent? Which is an excellent question. I'm glad they're even asking that, you know, and then understanding what the pros and cons are of both, right? You know, these days with YouTube and Spotify and all these platforms, kids are thinking like, okay, better to go independent. But even then, you're still negotiating contracts with venues and, you know, your sponsors and your endorsers, and they don't know what they're doing, right? And so people like you who's had experience dealing with that would have so much weight. And there is not really a program or a campaign around that to really guide people that are up and coming in this industry, in the entertainment industry specifically. And that's a lot of our young Black brothers and sisters too, because a lot of those are the ones that have talent that want to do this and that are getting disenfranchised or taken advantage of by a corrupt, white dominant, you know, system. And that's not even being addressed at all.
Because they can tell you, I mean, I've sat in meetings where I could have pretty much walked out with any and everything in the world that I ever wanted. But at some point, somebody said, yeah, you know, we really wanted to meet with you because, you know, you know how to make that music for your people.
Man.
Excuse me? No, you know what I mean, man, your people, you know. No, I want to know exactly what you mean. What do you mean?
Right.
You know, I watched, you know, I know people that got offered executive jobs and went to interview for it and pretty much got told that you're not going to be our boy. So we got to find somebody else. You're not going to sit here and let us run you ragged, or, you know, like what they do with us a lot of times is like Black executives in the music business, they're going to send you out to do the dirty work. They're going to send you out to talk to the artist, like when 360 deals first started. They're going to send you out to get cussed out for real. And then you can come back and tell, you know, the person in charge what happened. And then they're going to make it look like it's all magic for real. At the, you know, everybody hates you. But it's all in the name of, you know, if we sell the company or anything, you know, whatever, like you end up a millionaire, whatever it is. But what is the rest of your life you got left behind you?
Yeah.
For that millions of dollars that you made, when nobody gives a fuck about your word, nobody trusts you, whatever, you know, they just feel like, yeah, well, you know, you was just a nigga the whole time, for real. If you want to be honest, like they slaved you out. You know, you got your money now. You happy? You happy? You get to sleep in the main house. And I mean, that's really what it, I mean, like, I wish I could put it, you know, another way. And that's just what this business is, as long as people, once again, they take that secret book, they close it up once they get the information, and they put it in the safe somewhere. And when you come asking about it, it's like, what book? What are you talking about? It's no book.
That game they play, you know? And people get taken advantage of all the time.
I really, you know, I definitely want to talk to you about that, because I, you know, I mean, I talk to younger artists all the time, you know, and I get, you know, I try to just tell them the truth. You know, it's like, you know, I got gray hair and everything. They be wanting to laugh at me, call me pop and shit sometimes, whatever it is. I don't care. But, you know, when it comes down to it, it's just like, I know that I got lucky that people shared the information with me, but it's because I was super inquisitive and I wanted to know how everything worked. It wasn't just about sitting back and saying, all right, well, you know, I'm famous and that's cool and people can see me on TV or whatever. I want to know your job, you know, because I wanted to be a record company man. I wanted to be in the office. I didn't really want to be an artist. Like that was just my way to, go on the door. And now just, with these kids having so much of a better chance at making money early, it's like for us, back then when we started, it was normal to say, all right, well, you're going to be doing it at least 2-3 years before you make some money. And we just like, okay. Now they, these kids, they making money out the gate, like real money, but nothing to do with it for real. You know what I'm saying? Or, one try to put everybody on before you even on for real. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And not knowing, not having a foundation and, whatever else, like, yeah, this stuff may be born from a dream, but you can't dream while you're going through it. You got to really pay attention what's going on, because you wake up one day and you hot and you wake up 3 hours later after you take a nap and the same day and you're not.
All of a sudden it's,
Think along the lines of a sports agency and the players union combined, something like that. Where
they don't have that, in the music
manage their money as well as their careers.
I don't even know how we made it this far without that, to be honest with you, because we've had too many, biopics where they're talking about how so many artists got played all during the, all during the times like 70s, 80s, 90s, people just getting really bad contracts and,
but it's because they tell you, because you get worked from the beginning.
Right.
They tell you
that
you're going to sign a bad contract. And that is okay. It's called industry standard.
Yeah.
You're told that out the gate. Yeah. This contract is fucked up, but this is usually where it starts. And you get told that with the next line being, but one other industry standard is, the unwritten rule is, you sign the contract, you sell a shitload of records, and then you go to renegotiate. But then, and I will say in a lot of situations that does happen, but in a lot of situations it doesn't. So then, once again, we're in that same situation where it's like, I'm doing the right thing, and you showing me that it's still going to be fucked up. So what do you expect me to do after a while?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So then when artists going up in these record companies and they flipping tables over and record company people getting beat up and everything else, and they just wanted to be like, oh, it's just some wild emotional artist. No, I sacrificed my whole life for this.
Yeah.
And you always going to make more money than I do off of my albums anyway. So can somebody tell me where it's fair for me? Because I would do it for free. That's the only reason why you should do music for real. If you're not willing to do this shit for free, you should not start. But I didn't say I want to do it for free.
Do it for free. That's right. Right.
I would have just stayed at home for real. I wouldn't be sitting there in front of you.
Right. It's like athletics. It is a lot like athletics in a way. They recruit the kids when they're young. Tell them, go send them to the special high schools, move their families and stuff. You're the bonus baby. You're the bonus baby. But you get hurt in that first rookie contract and stuff, and nobody likes you anymore. You out of there. So you got to know what to do with that money right up front.
We need whoever talked to Allen Iverson when he first started, them kind of people. You know what I'm saying? And, along with, people who will just share the secrets. It's like, if you want your legacy to go on, you got to share them secrets. How did I get here? Tell me who this person is for real. So when I go deal with them, I know how to deal with them. I don't want to go through what you went through and mess around, mess it up. Just tell me the 3-4 words I need to say or whatever it is, how I go, to get past the gatekeeper so that, you can see, we don't like, being a writer and producer, that isn't, just something that comes along with being in the business. And that's really the closest way to solidify any kind of future and going into your kids and your grandkids and everything else is to own records. You know what I'm saying? Own masters, own copyrights. But that's not something that most people not letting an artist come in on their first album and write and produce for real.
Right.
And that might be the only album you ever have, and it might blow up. Then you got this album that's like a classic, years and years and years, and nothing is on there that you own except for nothing really, because they probably got your name and your likeness, You know what I'm saying? And you just running around
Right.
talking.
Yeah.
That's me. That's me.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what sports. I'm gonna tell you, they're doing some wonderful things in sports. You know, like LeBron and his crew. You know, and he's brought up since he was young.
yeah.
You know, you've got athletes who are negotiating their own contracts and doing things. You know, they are stepping out of that way. And music industry with Prince and everybody breaking off. You know,
But that's why I really think it's important that
yeah.
it's a movement instead of like one or two artists who really believe in themselves to, you know, fight for themselves. Because if it's the industry standard that everyone else is taking these bad deals and you're just like one or two people sticking your neck out, it doesn't work that way.
You're difficult.
Yeah, it's harder.
And that's the thing. Once you, if everybody's doing it and you're the one person sitting there like,
Yeah.
well, that don't seem right.
It's
He's
like,
hard to work with. He's a, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, nobody wants to deal with you.
Yep. And they can find another Adele.
yeah, and that's the thing. Is, you know,
They'll find another one just
know,
like you somewhere. So.
and sometimes
Yeah.
maybe the industry is, you know, recruiting people that aren't as talented, maybe aren't as talented, but more down to do as they're told, right? And there we got that problem, right? So if they're willing to just, you know, be the horse and pony for them, then we'll put you on, even though you're not that talented. And so that's why I think there really should be a campaign for those people with real talent that really deserves the advocacy that I think has been, you know, forsaken for too long.
Well, no, it's going to have to. Look, especially after this, it's going to have to change. Like, I'm glad that the guy over at Live Nation came and cleared up what was going on with that memo. Because I'm trying to tell you, the first time in my life, and next year make 30 years we've been doing this shit, that I was really like, so they really bullshit and lied about this whole thing. Like, the number one thing that they tell you is you work to be able to be a touring artist and you can tour for the rest of your life. Nobody in life ever thought that there would become a time when we couldn't tour. I mean, short of being hurt, you know what I'm saying, getting old, people not wanting to hear your music. But that industry, that's the industry that's never supposed to shut down. So, you know, you got everybody sitting back now, like, and then that you know, memo started circulating, and it's like, and you want me to take a pay cut, and you want me to pay for her? You want me to pay for my insurance to do a show? I mean, what do you mean? Like, do you mean I need to, am I paying part of the insurance on the venue? Like, what? I don't understand. What are you saying to me right now?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and nobody, you know, of course, you know, I'm sure a bunch of people didn't read it at first, but I went right in there and I'm looking at it and I'm like, are you telling me that I can never, like, I'm just going to never depend on that again. I'm going, whatever I need to do at this point, moving forward, I just don't feel like I can depend on that again in life. I don't care how many shows come back, because you just shown that the one thing that's supposed to be, like with everything that we were talking about, that's our job security, working to be able to tour forever. So you you took that away. Oh no, I can't fuck with you now. I need to, we're gonna figure out something else, because that and we don't, you know, you don't. And then one of my the biggest thing for me was, you know, Live Nation is pretty much over. If they don't own the venue, then they're the promoter for the venue. So you know, at the same time, you got this article running saying that 90% of music venues are in you know, trouble unless the federal government comes in, which means that whoever is the strongest is going to be the one left, which could only end up being Live Nation at this point. So then, regardless of whether you want to deal within that system, you know, you taking out all the independent promoters. You know what I'm saying? When Live Nation came in, Al Heyman went into boxing. You know what I'm saying? Al Heyman was the one that put all the independent promoters together so we could do these big tours like, you know, our white counterpart acts. You know, we could do the Budweiser Superfest and go all across the country the same way some rock act could or something else. You know, after that was done, we were just dealing with independent promoters. Now you take the independent promoters away, and then, you know, if these venues don't stay open, that's the only place you're gonna have to go to perform. So then, you know, what's going to happen? Then people, you know, I talked to a few people, you know, who really don't understand fully. So then it's like, well, why don't you, well, just don't book through them. It's like, well, it's not really that easy. Like, you're
Yeah.
pretty much going to have to, if they don't run and own the venue, they are going to be the promoter for the venue.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is.
Yeah.
So, you know, that whole thing, we gotta do something else. We got, you know, old people, you know, in this business. As we get older, you know, we shouldn't be worried about certain stuff. You know, now if you ain't do right in your career, or if you made a bunch of terrible records and that's just what you fought to do, ain't nobody got shit to do with that. But for the
But
ones that don't do that and play the game
yeah.
and learn, it's like there should be, you know, something at the end of it. You know, it's like if you're gonna make, you know, millions and millions and billions of dollars that's just sitting around, you know, you're gonna hold our checks for 90 days, making interest off of that money too. You know,
Yeah. Oh,
there is something there
yep.
for people to be okay. And that, you know, be able to, like, my thing is, I want my kids at the end of the day not to be looking at me like I was crazy running around the world, and, you know, be able to say, okay, I understand. Like, I see what you left us. You know, for all the hard work, I see what you left us. I don't want them going fighting with no record companies and shit.
Well, so, you know, I think that just like there's pro bono attorneys for civil rights, I think that this is a matter of, you know, employment rights, you know, to an
Mm-hmm.
extent. And employment rights are civil rights, you know what I mean? So I think that there should be a recruitment of some pro bono attorneys that can come and advocate. There's not really an advocacy in existence right now for this cause. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why I think this really needs to be talked about and brought to light, because you know, all of the normal employment rights that would apply to workers don't apply to artists. And so a lot of people are done an injustice. And what do, right?
Well,
So,
I mean, you see, they had to make a whole unemployment up for gig workers because it did not exist.
right. And so listen, if we're doing that, then, I mean, that's really where I got the idea, because after so many artists hit me up asking for legal consultations on what they can do, I was at, you know, a loss for words. I had nothing to give them, and that really broke my heart. And then I started really thinking about what is there for people in this predicament, and there was nothing, you know.
It's really, it's a, like, you know, it's been a scary time for real. And, you know, I keep telling people over and over again, like, you know, if you know, everything hit right at the time when, the time of the year when royalties start hitting,
Oh yeah,
you know, so it was like, whew, man, I'm glad I got them, all them songs up there for real, because I would be cussing and fussing and, you know, waiting for this PPE and PP whoever else and SBA and all that, you know, and it's like, no, just like I said, nobody, it wasn't, it don't happen like that. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? At the work, we could be at war and people still performing.
yep. You know, art
So,
got through some of the hardest times. You know, people turned to entertainment to get through, and this is for the first time where we can't do that. You know, and those are the people that are impacted the hardest, because there's no way, you know, to find remedies for it. So yeah, I mean, I hate to end it on this, but I do want to say that this is something that I hope to work with you on, and I'm going to try to get.
we know that because I to have it as a thought, but not you to articulate it really made it make that much sense to me. I tell you that I used to always have this dream that in the at the end of my career, I'm like sitting in court somewhere and suing the whole record industry to get them to change it. So, you know,
You know,
make that.
that's the next, you know, movement that we're going to champion. So listen, mark my words, we're not going to let this go.
Oh no, we on it. We on it, because I don't
Yeah,
want to see this. I know too many people,
me
you know,
too. Not too
that
many.
that love what they do. Like, we love what we do, but it's always this thing of like, man, like I gotta work 10 times harder because I gotta cover everything.
Yeah, no, it's not right.
Everything in the world.
Injustice that's not spoken on enough. So we're going to bring light to that, and I'm excited, to have some hope in what we can do about that. So I just want to say thank you. I have known you for a few years, and I know we've met through Deshaun, Cisco's backup dancer. And always been a kind person and always been very conscious and aware of things that are important. So my heart to you and for all that you're doing for the community and for the culture. Thank you for being a good role model for our kids and our generation right now, and for being that mentor that people need so much in the community.
I'm just happy to finally, just have time and be in a situation to focus on stuff and then not just be like something that's like passing in the wind or, hey, oh man, that's going on. Let me repost that real quick. It's like, nah, I'm like the post police. I'm on people's pages. Yeah. That's 2 years old. What you talking about? Take it down.
The fake ones too, which I appreciate, because those need to come down. We're not out here spreading false news, fake news. We're not him,
Yeah.
So,
let him do what he did.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, I look forward to working with you some more, and I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Oh, thanks, y'all too.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
I'll catch you on.
Man, we'll be talking.
All right. Thanks again for everything.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye. You too.
Bye.